Today, we're going to talk about something you see every single day. Why does it feel like your opinion has become the most valuable thing on the internet? Well, there's a fascinating science behind it, and it has a surprising connection to, of all places, your local library. I mean, think about it. You buy a coffee, and boom, there's an email asking for a reading. You finish a show, and the app immediately wants to know what you thought. It never stops, right? Well, there's a really good reason for all this, and it's part of a much bigger world. So let's dive in. So this whole thing, this constant poking for your opinion, it actually has a name: marketing research. And no, it's not just about trying to sell you more stuff. At its very core, it's really about one thing: understanding people. So what is it really? Well, here's the key. Marketing research is just a super structured way for organizations to listen. They gather information, they look for patterns, and they try to make sense of it all with one big goal: figuring out what you actually want and how they can give it to you. Okay, so to do all this listening, researchers don't just wing it. They've got this entire toolkit, a whole set of methods to help them listen carefully and precisely to understand both the huge trends and the tiny little details. The first big split in this toolkit is basically the what versus the why. Quantitative research is kind of like a measuring tape. It gives you the hard numbers and stats from big groups of people. Think 7 out of 10 people prefer this. But qualitative research, that's your magnifying glass. It zooms in on a smaller group to understand the deep down reasons, the feelings, the motivations, the why behind those numbers. And this breaks down into stuff you've definitely heard of. For the what, you've got your classic surveys and experiments. And for the why, well, that's where you get into things like deep dive interviews and focus groups, where researchers can really get into the nitty-gritty of people's experiences. This slide just nails the difference, right? On one side, you have the survey, structured, scalable, awesome for getting that big picture data. And on the other, you have the interview. It's personal, it's deep, and it's perfect for finding the stories that the stats can't tell you. Now, here's where it gets even more interesting. It's not just how they listen, but where they get the information from. First, you've got primary research. Think of this like cooking a meal from scratch. You're going out, getting fresh ingredients, brand new data just for you. Then there's secondary research, which is more like using a recipe book. You're using data that someone else already went to the trouble of collecting. And each one has its trade-offs. Cooking from scratch, primary research, gets you exactly what you want, but man, it takes a lot of time and money. Using a recipe book, secondary research, is super quick and cheap, but it might not be the perfect dish for what you need. Okay, so we've got the toolkit down. Now let's talk about where this stuff happens. I bet you're thinking, oh, some big tech company or a huge retailer. But what if I told you one of the most fascinating places for this is your local library? Yeah, you heard that right. The library, that quiet place full of books, it's actually a buzzing laboratory for marketing research. Turns out librarians are masters at systematically listening to their communities to figure out how to serve them better. So why are they doing all this? Well, their goals are pretty clear. They use these tools to constantly get better, to really understand what their users, people like you and me, actually need, and to make sure we know about all the cool resources they have. It's all about engagement. So let's get into the nitty-gritty. How exactly are libraries listening? What's inside their specific research toolkit when they put it into action? They use a whole mix of things, but it really boils down to these 4 big ones. They send out surveys, they observe how people actually use the library, they track the hard data, and they sit down for interviews to get those deeper stories. Let's kick things off with the one you've probably run into yourself: the user survey. This is the absolute workhorse of library research. It's their most popular way to get feedback straight from the source. They might ask you about pretty much everything. How good are the online databases? Were the staff helpful? How were the kids' programs? This is that measuring tape we talked about, giving them a big, broad snapshot of how happy people are. But here's the thing. They don't just ask you stuff. They also, they watch. They use observational research to study, quietly and ethically, how people actually behave inside the library walls. Now hold on, it's not creepy. It's all about understanding how the space actually gets used. Are people flocking to the comfy chairs or the quiet study desks? Which computers are always busy? It's not about watching you. It's about designing a space that works better for everyone. Next up is the cold, hard data, the stuff that happens behind the scenes. Every single time a book gets checked out or an ebook gets downloaded, that creates a little data point. This is the ultimate what measurement. By looking at this data, libraries can make really smart calls. If a whole section of books is just collecting dust, well, maybe it's time for something new. If an online database is getting tons of traffic, maybe they should invest more in it. It's all about building a collection people will actually use. So, they've got surveys, observations, stats, a mountain of data. Why does any of this matter? Well, because it points to a huge shift, a fundamental change in what a library even is. It's a move away from being just a house for books to being a hub for people. And the impact is massive. We're talking about decisions based on actual evidence, not just someone's gut feeling. The services are constantly getting better and more innovative, and most importantly, the library proves it's still relevant by focusing not on its shelves, but on the people it serves. And this quote just puts it perfectly. It's the key to the whole thing. By using these tools to listen, libraries are transforming themselves from these old-school, quiet warehouses for books into dynamic, responsive places built entirely around their users. And that brings us back to where we started and leaves us with one last question to chew on. We began with companies asking for your opinion so they can sell you more things, but we ended with librarians using those exact same tools just to serve you better. So what if every organization learned to listen a little less like a salesperson and a little more like a librarian?